Welcome back, everybody. Gaming Grandpa here with a new tutorial series for Football Manager 24 dealing with the MLS. Now, last year I did the MLS Explained. I am actually redoing that now to update it for 24. I had a lot of inquiries and comments last year that suggested that I try an interactive approach, so that's what I'm going to be doing this year. So I'm going to have two series, the tutorial MLS Explained and then a tutorial, I'm going to call it Lost in the MLS. So the first episode pretty much is just going to be what I do. I'm going to title it Getting Started. So it's kind of like what I do when I first take over a save in the MLS. Now, there's a huge difference between last year and this year. Last year, I was an expansion team. Expansion teams, it's easier to win earlier in your career just because I'm pretty much starting from scratch with everything. I had a higher transfer budget. I had a higher wage budget. I had everything that was different. So it's a lot harder with a current team, and that's pretty much why I am happy that we don't have expansion teams this year. That way you get to see both. Now, for those of you that were following my Building a Dynasty, I'm going to be continuing from St. Louis City's save last year and importing it into FM24 because I want to see how that function works this year. So I'm going to have that going, and I'm also going to start a new one with the New York Red Bulls. Now, the reason I chose the Red Bulls, they're one of the three original teams that joined the MLS in '96 that haven't won the MLS Cup. They won their conference and they were in the MLS Cup final, but they did not win. I was going to do Chicago. I know I talked about taking over Chicago a lot last year, but they've actually won a championship. So I figured, you know what, let's go with a team that hasn't won. It was either them, New England, or Dallas, and I'll be honest with you, I just don't care for Dallas, and I don't like anything New England either, so I went with New York Red Bulls. But anyhow, this is me starting, and this right here, that may or may not be correct. It might be a few years off, give or take, but I'm not going to go there. We're going to leave it there. Just remember my name is Gaming Grandpa, so take that with a grain of salt. All right, now it's predicting us to finish 7th with the current team we have. And here are some of my players, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't really looked at this much. I am kind of happy though because they're not expecting, which is really weird. We're predicted to finish 7th, but oh, I love it. Maintain a higher reputation than DC United. That's going to be fun. All right. Now, yes, I want to talk to media. No, I don't want to enter squad. It's just kind of pointless because, and I'll get into that here in just a minute, I go every 2 weeks. I really don't like doing them anyway. All right. We're going to do this. I've been in here a few times and made different saves, and something went wrong with the video, so that's why I actually had to get back and redo this. Now, I will tell you that I have a lot of countries loaded as playable. A lot. And I will cover that here in the next episode. But the first thing that I do when I come into a new game, other than read all this stuff, all right, and it's important stuff to read. The vision, I'm kind of excited because it doesn't say, it just says be competitive. They want me to finish in the mid-table in the Supporters Shield, which is, you know, mid-table out of all the teams in MLS, which shouldn't be too hard to do. We have a halfway decent team from what I could tell, all right? And then you're going to check all this stuff, you know, just go through. This is important information. I highly suggest you read it, all right? The senior minimum salary, it's gone up just a little bit. So has the reserve salary, but it's not that much. So, you know, that's important information. So is this one. All right, I'll hit all these up here later. But anyhow, the first thing that I always do after I go through the inbox is your finances. I know a lot of you either hit your squad or your finances first. Most people want to check how much transfer budget you have. I don't care about that right now, and I'll get into that here in just a minute on why. And there's a couple things I wanted to mention. In the MLS, we call it payroll, not wage budget. All right, payroll. We also don't use a director of football. We use a general manager, and that's the two biggest differences. Another thing I wanted to suggest you do is, since we're playing in America, go ahead and check the currency to US dollar. Now, last year you had to select if you wanted to cover weekly or if you wanted annual salaries. I haven't run into that option yet this year, so what that tells me is that in the MLS this year, it automatically goes to annual salaries, which makes everything so much easier because everything's based on annual in America. And it's just crazy, especially with sports. All right. But the main reason you come to finances is to click league specific. This is very important. This is your bread and butter of your save. I know you might think your players and whatnot, but this is your bread and butter. You have to be within your salary cap range, and as you can tell, I have half of it remaining, which is a good thing. All right, and that reminds me, this year you have the option of selecting what what game you want to play. Like you can play a current one, you can play, I picked your world because I didn't want to have any transfers already in place because I want to spend the money that I can spend and I don't want them to get players that I don't want. That's why I picked it, so there's no transfers ongoing or outgoing. All right. Now, this down here is one of the most important things on getting your roster compliant. And I'll talk about all that here in a bit too. All right. Every team in the MLS starts with 2 designated player slots. Now, you are allowed to buy a third one, a permanent slot, per 150,000, I think, allocation funds, or it might be 250 now. I got to do some research on it. But anyway, we've already bought that because this team's been in existence for years. So, of course, we have 3. The cool thing is we have 2 slots available. I only have 1 DP slot, so I'm really happy about that. Now, if you don't know what a DP is, I'm going to have my new tutorial series coming up at about the same time I release this, so that way you'll get a good idea what that is. All right, but just keep in mind, out of the 3, you can't have 3 older players as DPs. You have to have one has to be a young designated player, or it won't let you offer that contract. All right. Now it covers homegrown, which don't get me going on that. That's a huge issue in my opinion. I'll talk about that a little bit later. All right. International slots. Every team starts with 8. You can trade them away. You can trade for them. You can buy them. You can sell them. All right. These are tradable assets, and once again, we'll cover all that later. Now, it also tells me how many I have at the club. So I don't have any international free slots right now. So what that means is if I sign a international player, and what they mean by international is any player that doesn't have America as a nationality. It could be a second nationality or it could be their primary, but it's not a domestic player. So international player is any foreign player that doesn't have American nationality. All right. The under 22 players, you're allowed 3. I have 2. So I'm very happy about that too. So that means I can go out and hopefully find a young star and sign them. Okay. Once you hit the league specific, there's a few other things that I recommend you doing. Competitions, click on Major League Soccer, and you want to check out the rules. This is very important. Go down to transfer and registration rules in this section right here. Okay, a maximum of 30 players to be registered on Saturday, March 4th. That is called the roster compliance date. Your salary cap has to be green. Everything has to be green for international players, and I'll cover the roster here in just a second. All right. Now, another thing to read is it says players released after this date will still contribute to the cap if they're on a guaranteed contract. Okay, keep that in mind. Now, DPs, under 22 players, any player that you actually gave them a guaranteed contract, that's the ones that this will count against your cap if you release them. Okay, it doesn't mean other players. Now, July 1st in 2023. All right, right here. It doesn't matter if they're guaranteed or not. So that gives you from March to July, all right, to get rid of extra players and not have them count against your cap unless it's guaranteed contract, okay? After that point, everybody, see, it even says, after this date, all players will be on guaranteed contracts for the season regardless of how long they spent in the league, okay? So if you bring a guy in June 30th and you waive him July 1st or release him and nobody picks him up, you're responsible for his salary, because it's guaranteed after that point, all right? And then here's some of the financial rules, but, we'll get into all that with the tutorial and everything else, all right? Now, after I check the competitions, and the cool thing is this year I only have to worry about the U.S. Cup and the Supporter Shield, all right? Once again, I'm not going to cover what all these are. That's what the other tutorial's for, all right? Now, some other things that you might want to check is your schedule. Just go ahead, and they already have some friendlies scheduled. Now, here's what's weird. It has my under 23s, which I didn't even know I had an under 23. That's really weird. I didn't even know that team existed. That wasn't in 23 last year. So that's interesting. All right. That is real interesting. And then that's my B team, and I will cover that here in just a bit. Now, another thing that you want to check, and you can do these in whatever order you want. This is just pretty much how I do. Now, I'm going to tell you right here, I take control over everything that I can in the beginning, okay? And if you notice now, my B team is here. Okay, so we're going to click on that. We're going to click on my squad. Now you'll notice that there's a lot of grayed out players. I am trying to figure out if this year cap impact says 0, but it said that last year and it still counted for the cap. In real life, the B team is called MLS Next Pro. They have leagues, competitions, tournaments, you name it. They play other teams, and I don't have to set up friendlies. I'm going to try to see if this year I have to, or if Sports Interactive has actually made this a playable league like they do in every other country. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see. But this is not supposed to count in the cap, but I'm going to just prepare for the worst, because I don't think that, I think it still does count against the cap is what I'm saying. So keep that in mind. All right, now the B team, things that you're checking for. All right, you can have any age limit. It doesn't matter. There's no age limit in the B team like the academy team. I will talk about that in a bit. Contract type. Okay, if it doesn't say full-time or part-time, then that means that they have a senior contract. All right, I do have a couple. Well, just one. All right, only one senior contract player. Nope, 2. It's down here. All right. Wow, 17-year-old on this thing. That's crazy. All right. The reason that's important is because they are part of the salary cap this year, I'm pretty sure. All right. So I need to add them. I'm going to add them to my squad planner. But the B team should already be there, but just to make sure they are, and we'll cover the squad planner here in just a bit. The reason for that is because you could always move them back down to the B team, but for now I want to see what I have as far as players are concerned. All right, a 2-star player in the MLS is actually a pretty good little player, you know, and we'll cover all that here in more depth later. All right, now the thing that's important is your academy. All right, you need to really pay attention to your academy. All right, now I click by age. Wow. All right, in real life, and I'm going to talk about the MLS and Football Manager, but in real life, players can be in the academy the year that they turn 18. They stay in the academy until the end of the season and then are no longer in your academy. All right. In Football Manager, it's not like that. When they turn 18, they kick them out of the academy. And I don't like that. So you need to keep an eye on this. If there's any players that you really are interested in, you need to keep an eye on them, okay? So what I'm going to do is, all these players here that are 18 or above, I'm going to, wow, they kind of suck. They're not really that good. I want to look and see if I have any players that might want to be in my senior team. All right, and as I can tell right now, it's not looking like it's going to happen. All right, I'm most likely not going to. Now I do have this kid here, looks pretty good. All right, this kid he's already a two-star, you know, current ability. He might be pretty good, but he has a professional, so he's going to develop a little bit better. All right, now I will tell you that New York Red Bulls have one of the better youth academies in real life, so we'll see how that transfers to the game. But you want to check the ages. 18-year-olds or above. Like, say I had a 3-star, 5-star guy. I would move him to my senior team right now. All right? Because I'd say within about a few days of continuing, these players are going to fall out of my academy and they're going to disappear. All right? So keep that in mind. And also, you want to check 17-year-olds that have potential to be in the B team. All right? And that's solely up to you. Like this kid here, honestly, is maybe this one is probably going to be the only 2 that I'm going to keep an eye on and move up. You know, now one thing about the academy, your youth intake comes, that's where your academy kids come from. Every now and then your director of football, I'm sorry, your general manager will sign one and they'll be in here. Same thing with the B team as it was last year, and I haven't checked it yet, but you cannot sign players for your B team. It's ridiculous, but you cannot do that. You can't offer youth contracts and you can't offer full contracts. All right, so just keep all them things in mind, but you want to definitely check the ages. All right. Another thing that I do is I set up my squad planner. Oh yeah, I gotta create a tactic first. My goodness, we're just gonna do one real quick here. The same tactic that I always use, it seems like, and I just kind of change it as we go, the 4-2-3-1, but I don't like DNY. These come up to be central midfielders, but I'll deal with that later. All right, now, there we go. All right, squad planner. If there's any players from your academy team that you want to take a look at, add them to the squad planner to see how well they fit in. All right, this is solely up to you, but you can only have 30 players max in a roster. All right, I don't need to do this, And right now, I'm thinking there's more than 31. I thought there was. Ah, 32 people. This is kind of interesting. 32 people. So that means that if roster compliance date was today, I would not be able to register my squad because I had 2 extra people. I mean, I could, but they would be waived to 2 people, and I don't want to do that. All right. So you're going to have to go through your squad just like you would normally. All right. You want to make sure that, like this guy here, he's an international player, and I don't know how long he's played for us, at least a year. So he hopefully be getting a green card here pretty soon. But he's going to be one of my mentors, so I'm not getting rid of him. But this kid, same thing. He's going to be staying here. What you're looking for is like, man, if this kid was a foreign player, I would release him in a heartbeat. Now, I'm still probably going to release him just because I don't know. I have these guys here, same thing. I mean, they're just not up to not up to stuff. All right, let me see here. So all these players here have a chance to probably probably all the way up to here. I'm probably going to get rid of most of them, especially these older guys. And not only that, but I have 3 goalkeepers and 4 if you count the guy I'm going to have to bring up from my B team. So I don't need that many. Plus, I'm hoping to sign another goalkeeper that I have my eye on already. That he's a model citizen, because you always want to keep a lookout for mentors and whatnot. This is my current goalkeeper. Another thing you want to check is the contract expiration date. Now, unlike the rest of the world, your players can sign pre-contracts with other teams, but you have the option first. That's part of the MLS, and that's the good thing. So you don't have to worry about players, up and leaving. Now, if you tell them that you're going to release them at the end of the year, then they can sign pre-contracts without going through you. The MLS is a unique beast, but it's very good because you don't have to worry about players, up and, signing contracts, even if there's 3 months left, unless you don't want them and tell them that you don't want them, okay? So keep that in mind. That's a really handy feature, because I don't know how many times I played other countries and, oh man, I forgot to re-sign him and he's gone. I would recommend going all the way out to 24 and taking a look at every one of these. So this player all the way up to here is who I'm going to have to be going through and re-signing them if I want to keep them, because let's be honest, players that are leaving this year, you're not going to get as high a value from. And in the MLS, the transfer values are really messed up anyway. I mean, some of these players, if this guy here, let's find one. If he went to, I don't know, Man City, he's probably going to be worth 40, 50 million as soon as he leaves. It's just, that's how it is in the league. It's really crazy. MLS values their players differently. Same thing with the trades and whatnot, and I'll talk more about that as I get into that episode. But I do have a couple good young players, and I want to have as many American kids as I can, or second nationalities, but it doesn't work that way all the time. Last year, I had a lot more international players, and I had a few people where they're like, hey man, in real life, do they really have that many international player slots? I had 20 something. And the answer is yes. Atlanta United this past year had 25 international player slots. They trade for them even if they don't use them. And there's a lot of teams that don't have that many international players, so they have no problem loaning, selling it for a year for allocation money, because allocation money comes in handy for so many things. Now, one thing I am going to say, right now in preseason is the best time to get rid of players, because I can release any of these players and it doesn't hurt me. I don't have to pay their salaries. It does not matter if they're designated players. It doesn't matter what. I can release them at any time between now and, well, it's not March 4th. It's weird. I think it's like during preseason. You can, once the season starts, pretty much, I think it's in February something is when the actual season starts, then you're going to see this is going to say wait. You can still get rid of players if it's not the contract guarantee date, and it's not going to count against you, but they have to go through waivers, and all that's going to be into another episode in the other tutorial series. All right, so just keep that in mind. There's a lot of things you can do. I'm kind of excited this year because this guy I want to sell about the intermediaries and different things like that. All right, but anyway, that's just some things that I do. I even check my dynamics, check my mentors, and see who I have now, and different things like that. But just the normal things that you would do. But MLS specific, we're going to do a recap real quick. Check your finances, your league specific. All right, check your slot numbers for your contracts. Check your salary cap. Transfer funds, it it doesn't really matter on transfer funds. I mean, it really doesn't, because it's not like I'm going to go out and spend 100 million on players. I'm not going to be able to. And when I sell players, the MLS is always going to get a cut. So if I sell a player for $1 million, I'm not going to get that much. The MLS is going to take at least 25%, so they're going to get 250,000 automatically. And depending on how much money that they're going to give me, okay, 100%. All right, that's good. So then that means 750,000 of that would go into my transfer budget. Okay, but if this was 50%, then I wouldn't get but 50% of the 750. So selling players, it's worthwhile sometimes, and sometimes it's better to trade players. Now, if it's a player that is really, really good on your team and he wants to leave, I doubt I would trade him in the MLS, because you don't want it to come back and bite you. So, you have to just use your judgment call on what players you get rid of. All right, and how you do it. I mean, all right, make sure you check your academy. You're looking for players that are 18 or over that you might want to use in the B team, that have high potential, high current ability. All right, keep an eye out on your 17-year-olds also. And if you notice, these contracts never expire. All right, the next thing you want to check is your B team, and check any players that might do your senior team good. All right, this kid here, he's only full-time, but I mean, I might move him up because he has excellent potential. I want him training with the senior team, and get mentored, so we can work on him getting a better mentality to help him, develop better. All right, and then you want to check for your contracts, your senior contracts, and I would move them up already. This kid here will take up an international player slot, so I have to keep that in mind. But I might end up getting rid of him. I don't know, because he's only a 3-star potential. So I'm probably going to get rid of him. This is probably going to be the only kid I'm going to move up. Maybe this kid, because he's so young, just to see what happens. Plus he has senior contract. So yeah, I will move him up. All right. Another thing, the media description. If you notice, I have that on here. This kid here has potential, and I'm not going to say he is, but before they become wonder kids, promising is the second best media description you can get. All right, that means he has potential to get 4 to 5 stars. So that's going to be really, really good. All right, once again, star ratings based on the league and my team and different things like that. The best way to tell you're going to have a good player on your team is if all these teams overseas want him. All right, check the competitions. You want to check the rules on the financial and transfer registration rules. And the main thing you're worried about right here at the moment is the roster compliance date, March 4th. All right, so I still have a good couple months to get rid of players and to bring players in and stuff like that. All right. Another thing I didn't mention is you want your staff. The MLS teams almost always are understaffed. And once again, I take over everything. Now, after I get my team, my staff built, then I'll let the technical directors and general manager and everything, whatever, take over. But for now, I do that. And if you notice my recruiting team, I definitely need a lot more scouts. And next episode, I'm going to show you how to set up my recruitment focuses and, sign to some players and get rid of players and things like that. All right. But check that. Do your squad planner. Add all your players that you want in your senior team. Check your squad. All right. You're looking for contract expiration dates. You're looking for different, what players you want to get rid of. You're also looking for the contract types, but as you know, we only have one DP, and is this guy? Yeah, I'm keeping him, so I'm going to have him on my DP. And he's a young designated player contract. Yep, because he's under 27, so that's good. And my under 22s are right here. Yep, they're 22 and older, but they fit the bill. Now, here's the problem right here. Their contracts expire. They are definitely going to be wanting an improved contract. Because they're over 22 or 22 or older, I can't offer them that under 22 initiative contract anymore. So they're going to either want a senior contract or a DP contract. I'll get into that later. I am going to keep Yearwood. All right, I am going to keep him. Now the other guy, I don't know yet. I just have to wait and see what I have, what positions I need to get rid of. It's really kind of hard to tell. So I'll get back with that in the next episode. I'll have a lot of my players kind of narrowed down on who I'm getting rid of, who I'm bringing in, and I'll show you how to do contracts and things like that. But anyway, guys, don't forget Club Vision to ask for affiliate clubs. All right? I can tell you right now they're going to deny it, and I'm not even going to waste a slot because I just took over. So about 6 months from now, I'm going to ask for senior affiliate because you definitely want senior affiliates. You also want an affiliate that you can loan players to. And I don't even know if we have any affiliated clubs. Holy crap, we do. Haha, that's awesome. I didn't even check that, but yeah, I guess it does make sense. This is new. Under 23, that's new. That is okay. I didn't realize I had that. So I wonder if I could send players to let me find a young player. Harper. All right. We're going to, is it development squad? Where's it at? Move to affiliate. Okay, cool. So I will tell you right now, I can't move into the academy because he's over age. He has to be 18 or younger to get to the academy. But this is new. I did not know. Okay, that is awesome. I didn't know that was in here. So I got to add that to my other tutorial. That's cool. All right, so cool. We have more affiliates. Not only that, but I have affiliates from overseas already. Salzburg, everything's Red Bull, of course. So that's cool. They can send them on. Ooh, okay. All right. But I do want to look for a senior affiliate. That's awesome. We have one in Brazil. Holy crap. That's a good thing about taking over. Last year, I didn't have any affiliates because it was an expansion team. So I'm excited. This is going to be fun. All right. But anyway, I'm going to have more episodes coming up. But I got to get my tutorial series going for the MLS Explained and at least get a couple videos done on that one. But I just wanted to kind of touch base and show you that this year I am going to have an interactive video on how to do things. And once again, you want to check your finances, league specific competition, click on the rules for the MLS. Check your development center for your academy kids that are over 18. All right, check your B team for any players that you want to bring up. And any of them that have contracts. Check your squad expiration dates, contract types, different things like that, and then go to town and get prepared. And we'll be back with another episode. So if you guys like that video, please leave me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want more videos, and drop me some comments. Ask questions. I love responding to people. I want people to like the MLS like I do. So anything I can do to help, just let me know. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and until the next episode, have a good day.